All right, friends, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here. This is Saturday. We're live. We've got some news. We've got a tour of the studio, plus all your questions. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberly. This is Saturday Live Stream.
God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, thanks so much for tuning in. Before we get to some of the news and everything, I just want to say hi to folks. Janine, thanks for showing up. Dean, thanks for being here. Walk in Beauty, that's a cool name. I like that one. Melody. And, of course, some of the regulars like Joe and Snurdy, Mark Holland, Kung Flu Panda. I love that name ever since we started saying that. And I got to welcome Jeff Barry. He's our moderator. He's going to keep everyone in line because as opposed to what some people think during the regular 13-minute news hour, no, I cannot talk and type at the same time. That's actually pre-recorded, but now we're jumping in. We got him to keep things going. And the main thing for today is just, last time I gave you some background. I gave you some background on how I got involved in politics, how everything started, how each step kind of built. And today I want to give you, now that we're here, now that we're on YouTube, give you a taste of this setup. This studio setup, everyone's is different, but I wanted to give you a tour to show you kind of how things work at the 13-minute news hour and the Saturday live stream. But first, I got to get a bit of news for you right here. And I just want to jump into this story because as President Trump is reopening the economy, he's putting task force together. You know, he already has one. He's looking at this task force for shutting things down and battling and combating the coronavirus. Now we have to open things up. Well, part of that Reopening America task force or advisory committee is made up of legislators. And he asked every single Republican senator to be on it except for one. And here's the story. Senator Mitt Romney was the only Republican senator not asked to participate in President Trump's task force, composed of lawmakers from both parties aimed at reopening the country after the COVID-19 pandemic. All other Republican senators were invited to join the Opening Up America congressional group, according to CNN, which notes Mr. Trump reviewed the list of 100 lawmakers tapped for the group before it was finalized. So that I thought was just hilarious. And that's what he gets. That's what he absolutely gets. The only senator, the only Republican to vote to convict President Trump, now he's on the outs for the Reopening America Task Force. I think it's great. And the other thing I wanted to touch on is Joe Biden, as far as news goes, is Joe Biden is at it again. He is absolutely at it again. He's got gaffes a minute, but one of the ones that really stands out to me, this is the one that just absolutely cracks me up. And that's when he was speaking at his rally and he's trying to talk about our founding documents. And he says this thing.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
So guess what? He did another you know the thing again, basically. He was on CNN yesterday, and he was trying to talk about the programs that were in place that Roosevelt put in place in World War II. This is CNN. This is a friendly audience. He's at his home studio in Delaware, plenty of time to prepare, and he goes and he does something. Just watch.
Kinds of things that have to be done. There's during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than he called it the World War II. He had the War Production Board.
So what is that? I mean, he cannot make a coherent sentence. And I'm looking down at the chat and I see people cracking up all over the place. And it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious because, again, this is a friendly setting. You know, I've been on interviews. I've been on Fox before where I've had to go up against a Democrat. I was on talk radio one time on Detroit. I don't know how my publicist at the time set that one up, but it was a hostile host and hostile call-ins. And you have to be able to think on your feet. You have to be able to address the issues knowing that anything you say, the actual host of the show is going to slam you. Okay? Plus the call-ins were nasty. And I haven't been on that station again, but the point I'm making is that this is CNN. This is a hostile environment. And did you see the looks on their faces where they're trying to ask him and he can't, you know the thing. I mean, what is that? It makes no sense at all. And yet he keeps going and going. Yeah, he is Sleepy Joe for sure, Snurdy. And it's just funny to see him in action. It is just absolutely hilarious. And so I got those clips because I didn't have time to put those in to the 13-minute news hour yesterday, but we can talk about them today. So I hope you enjoyed that. Romney gets hit in the butt, which is awesome. And Sleepy Joe just shows more and more how easy this is. And what's funny is that following that display, that interview on CNN, Donald Trump Jr., he went and tweeted this out. He said, debate's gonna be hot. Look at that. So he's really excited about just getting into those debates for his dad. And it's just awesome. I mean, Biden keeps serving up more and more meat all the time, just fresh meat. I can't, we talked about Stacey Abrams on Friday just wanting to be his running mate because she'd make a good loser. What a team that would be. But Joe Biden on his own, he is going to be such a target. There is so much that he can go after. Plus the fact that President Trump built up these historic numbers on the economy, on unemployment and everything. And now we see the counter. We see President Trump in action during a worldwide pandemic and what he's doing. And to combat that, I don't think Biden has a chance. We're going to do a show one time that talks about President Trump, look at the actual numbers, how he won in 2016, and what it takes to win in 2020. And it's going to be a good analysis. We'll save that for a show sometime, maybe a Saturday live stream, just really get into some of the numbers, some of the Q&A. But next, I wanted to talk about and just give you guys a tour of the studio because my son and I got together, did some video. We don't have the pro level sound. I just recorded this from my iPhone, but I wanted to give you guys kind of a look behind the scenes. Last time you got the backstory, but this time I want to give you a little behind the scenes. And thanks. Tina's here now. We've got Verona here now. Rose Blight, we always have her. Joe, Chris Adamo, thanks for joining in. Folks, Chris Adamo has written a book, Rules for Defeating Radicals. He and I are going to team up. We are actually going to do a special show kind of on that book based on what the left does. As you know, one of my core tenets, one of the reasons I do this is to not only get Republicans elected because I came up through grassroots Republican politics, but it's also to combat the left, to talk to folks who aren't even political and just show them what the left is doing, not so much Democrats. If you guys watch my show, if you're regulars, you know that when I talk about Democrats, it tends to be legislatively. Here's what the Democrats are doing in Washington. Here's what the Democrats are doing in a particular state. But I differentiate that from when I talk about the left in general. The left is the one that this movement, this group has been at work for decades now. They're the ones that have infiltrated entertainment and media and big tech and the deep state and education. And part of the whole idea, my motivation in talking with you, is to educate you on what they're doing and let's do something about it. Well, Chris Adamo wrote a book that does exactly that. He points out the tactics of the left, going back to Saul Alinsky and his book and the left, how they study him, what they do, what their tactics are, and how we can beat them. We're going to put a video series together, and I can't wait for that. But until then, let's get to the tour because I'm really excited about this. And let's just jump right in. All right, friends, the days of the garage studio melting in the heat, those days are done. We've got an official studio. I want to give you a tour, so let's go. And here we go. And a little bit of background first. A lot of studios are different. If you look up YouTube videos, you see a lot of different things. A lot of people are at their desk. They have cameras right there mounted. They have great lighting. It just depends on your background and what you're trying to do. Now, my experience is really two things. It's TV sets and movie sets. Back in the day, I did a couple extras roles in movies, was in a couple commercials. I even did, just a couple of years ago, a really fun video in a Ferrari, driving around, got to do a little acting, a little driving. I'm gonna link to that, but that's my background, that's my experience, and that's what leads to this particular studio. So let's jump right in. All right, so there's our little intro. We're gonna jump into the studio. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. There's a little bit of delay, so we're gonna work that out. Just getting used to questions with video. This is the first time we've had video feed. This is only our second live stream. I think we've got a lot of it worked out. It's really fun to be here. But that's a look at the studio, and it's different for everyone. I've seen some really great setups that are a lot closer in. This is really spread out, but let's get to the lighting. Okay, so first we're going to talk about lighting. And again, this background and the folks I consulted, we've got some heavy duty stuff. All right, these are from Impact. These are known as C-stands. And I've got these for all my major lights. They're rugged. They can hold anything. Nothing is going to tip these guys over. Very rigid clamps here, grips here, just really awesome. And that leads to lighting. Okay, so first, all my lighting is from Aperture, and I've got an LS120D. This is daylight on the color temperature, really strong light, and attached to that is a 35-inch softbox, also from Aperture. Gets the key light really soft, really awesome, but great intense lighting. And we can adjust the intensity, the dimness from this control box right here. Then also from Aperture, I've got these LED panels. These, you can vary the color temperature, you can vary the dimness as well. I've got that for my fill light, I've got that for a backlight over here, and same product to highlight the shelf right there. So that's the lighting. Those four lights really combine to give a nice full picture. I actually adjusted the lighting over time because, again, I came from consulting with movie guys, so it was very contrasty, like you like to see in movies at first, and we've evened out the lighting now to see more of like what you see on TV. That's the lighting. Now let's move to cameras. All right, so that was lighting, and Raul asks the question of, do I use a green screen? No, I don't. I was going to look into that. I'm actually looking into that because this setup, what I have here now, comes in especially handy for other interviews. As you know, I've been on One America News several times. I can do that. The other times in the past when I've been on Fox or MSNBC, it was more traditional. I go to a studio here in Houston. They'd get you all done up and you do the remote segment, the remote shot, the guest spot. Here, I can do that all right here. This camera that I'm using for the live feed, my A-cam, can be set up to do Skype interviews, other things like that, where I think a different background, maybe a Houston skyline or something like that might be good. And so I'm either looking at doing backdrop of those, have a daylight and a nighttime Houston skyline or a view out of office window, like you often see the DC legislators have the Capitol in the background out through a window. So I'd like to make those up for Houston. So if someone wants to do that, help me with that, they can. Otherwise, I'll use a green screen. But instead, I have our brick background, which, as you can see from that initial tour of just the lighting, no, it's not real. It is a vinyl backdrop that I ordered, and it's absolutely awesome. I will put some links in the description for the various equipment, or I'll do a more in-depth studio review that's not live, where I can take my time, do better sound editing. I just wanted to give you guys a kind of a quick background since you're the loyal viewers. But the brick background, that's a vinyl backdrop, which I had on a frame when I was in the old garage studio. But now I can attach it straight to the wall, and it works great. It works absolutely great. So now let's get into the cameras. All right, let's talk cameras, because you can't get on YouTube and do a show or a live stream without video, without your cameras. I've got two good ones. We use an A cam, we use a B cam. I'll tell you why I use the B cam. One of it is for variety. Another reason is for a little trick. I'll let you know about that in just a second. But let's start with the A cam. This is a Canon 80D. Both of these shoot in HD. I'll probably upgrade to 4K in a little while, but right now these guys are absolutely great. And for my kind of morning, on a show morning, when I have to record, do post-production, and then do the show all in the morning, makes the files very manageable, very easy to use. I love it. It's on a Manfrotto 290 Lite tripod, bee-free fluid head, also from Manfrotto. Really nice setup. I love this camera. It allows me to control it from my iPad, so I can sit in my chair, focuses on my face, and I hit the record button already in place. It's ready to go. On the B cam, I've got a Canon T6i. It uses the 55 by 250 lens that I ordered, set at about 60 millimeters. This one's at 55 millimeters, maxed out, so I know the setting's never gonna be off. I just twist it to 55 and it's good to go. Same tripod, same head. This is great for just a little change, a little variety in the show. And for editing, people notice editing a lot less a chop, a transition, if you're also changing camera views. So this makes editing seem a lot more seamless, seem like the person is just going for a variety of shot rather than a major edit. So those are the cameras. Let's talk about sound. All right, so that's the cameras. I really love them, and I appreciate the comments. Blackwood, yeah, I love the brick background. It's my favorite because the look that I wanted to do was bringing you guys in to like my old office that I had, or just us sitting around and talking politics, talking about the left, figuring out what we can do, what they're doing, and what we can do to combat them. So I absolutely love this background. I don't feel like, I'm not sure I'm not going to change it because, again, it has that environment. And Melissa and some of these others, Joe, not a nice comment. The legs need to get into the camera shot. But the background, that's what I like. And yeah, it was an investment. I didn't price all this out, to a total, Raul, so I can't give you that. But it was a pretty good investment. You can look up those cameras. You can look up the lights. I kind of named those out. But just as with everything, I wanted to, just like with GOPUSA.com, the whole idea, even before it was making money, was to produce a quality website, a place where people wanted to go. And that's the exact same thing I'm trying to do with the show. If you could, oh my gosh, I need to put in, maybe next time, my first test clip when I knew that this is what I want to do, because I've written for a long time, Washington Times and Houston Chronicle and columns on GOPUSA.com, newspapers all over the place. But I wanted to take this, and because I had done, some of those commercials and, extra spots in the past, move to video, move to this medium because I absolutely love it. And I thought, okay, I've spoken in front of large audiences before, crowds of 10,000 people at Republican Party conventions. I've done interviews before. It'll be easy. Well, not really. Like with anything, you have to practice. You have to practice and practice and practice. And those first test shows that I did, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. That was terrible. And so you kind of learn as you go along. But I wanted the equipment to be ready for when I felt like, okay, I can move from testing to do the show. I had other backdrops too. I had some temporary ones, just a sheet up, one that looked like wood, things like that. I did most of my testing just on my iPhone. And then I talked to people on how to ramp things up and get this set up like I did. Like I said before, it used to be in my garage. And I appreciate the comments. And thanks, Janine. I really appreciate that, Snarty. It's awesome. And, it's just you grow, you learn to do it. So this studio is probably going to evolve over time. Like I said in the camera thing, probably get 4K cameras, although messing in 1080p is really nice. And we just evolve from there. So now let's get into sound. Uh-oh. Okay, see, so we got our first screw up of the day. We don't have the sound, but I'll talk over this. I'll talk over this picture for a second and show you, this is my view. When I do the show, this is what you're seeing. And my sound, my setup right there, and I'll go back to our chat window in just a second. But I wanted just to show you that my microphone, that is a Blue. It's a Yeti Pro from Blue. I absolutely love it. It records great. and it is very versatile. Like for the live stream, it's plugged right into my laptop. This is what is running the whole show. But for the 13-minute news hour, I record into what's known as a Zoom H6, which is a multi-channel recorder, and it records great. And so then what I do, let me get back to this screen, is what I do then is then I just sync up the sound. I've got it recorded on an SD card on my Zoom H6. Audio is recorded on the cameras too, but that is not nearly as good. But I can use that to sync up, and then not only do I have 2 good video tracks, but then I have a great soundtrack all synced, and then I go into post-production. So that's an idea for another live stream sometime, is that we could talk about from here on out. Now you've gotten my background. Now you've seen the studio setup and my view looking out. And now would come time for the show, because I'd love to show you what goes in to putting this all together, because it is really kind of, it's intense. And, you know, the mornings, I start the night before, and then I work through the morning recording, post-production, getting on the chat. Lots of people show up early, so it's a lot of good chat, and we put the show together. But I'll do a live stream on that. I'll do some background on what it takes to make the 13-minute news hour, because I think that would be a whole lot of fun. And I hope on that view you guys got to see this backdrop. Let me put that up one more time. Right here, that backdrop of the Washington Monument from the Lincoln Memorial with the chess set, basically saying your move, because that kind of symbolizes not only my love of politics, but my love of competition, whether it's athletics through national tennis or pro racing or politics. For me, my friends say that I can never relax, that anything we do is a competition. We're playing bocce ball or cornhole or whatever. Basically, your move, bring it, I'm coming at you. So that is the background. That's the studio tour. And now I just want to take some questions. If you guys have any questions, and yeah, I appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, tell your friends, and just let me know. I want to take some questions. I appreciate all you guys being here. Phyllis, that's a new name. Phyllis Gallagher, thanks for showing up. Rochelle, thank you. I recognize you. Teresa Baker Carl, you're always there. Miguel, thanks for the thumbs up. Janine, you're awesome. And yeah, this is a fun group. I love it. Melissa, thank you for showing up. Melissa Costner, we have Melissa Cordova too. We've got a lot of great people showing up, and I just want to thank you. I mean, this has been a lot of fun. And let me know in the comments too, because before we had the only video clips I have on the live stream last time were my intro and outro. And then those were a certain sound level, and my audio was a lot lower. Now I worked this week. I also took some really kind of went out on a limb for this show, bringing in the Biden clips, bringing in the studio tour clips. That's the first time we've done that, transition to those. Great software to handle that. But how's the audio? How's my audio compared to the rest of the clips? Thanks, Jay Huff. I appreciate that. Jason, thanks for the heads up. Christy, thank you for being here. This is awesome. I really love it. And just I appreciate... Whoa. Let me do that kind of messed up. Hold on just a second here. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I am going through the numbers. I have no producer. I have no producer to hit these buttons. And so sometimes you're going to get the view of my view right there on the screen of the show. And I wish all of you guys could actually be in the audience instead of just me looking at a camera, because I love the energy. That's one of the things I love about politics and just being out with folks, being at meetings, being out there. You know, I was campaign manager for a congressional campaign this time around. And it was so exciting just being out there with people that are concerned about the country, concerned about the direction we're going in, and want to make a difference. And hopefully that's the same kind of attitude that you folks have. And we can all kind of do it together. We can learn together. Chris Adam and I will get together. We'll arm you with ammunition for combating the left. 13-minute news hour helps keep you informed. And folks, I think, Yvette, thanks for being here. Oh, cool. Audio. Good. I'm glad everything is right. I'll remember these settings. because wouldn't you know it, the settings I have to do on this microphone for the live show, because it feeds into the computer, are different than what I have to do for the 13-minute news hour, which feeds into that Zoom H6. So now I've got two settings I've got to kind of remember. I think I've got it set up so it's pretty much idiot proof, but we'll see on Monday. We'll see if I, forget to switch back and then your ears are blown out or something, because the way I have to adjust the gain on the mic for this, a lot higher than for the 13-minute news hour. But what else do you guys want to talk about? I mean, you're here. We're running a great show. I don't even know how long this is lasting. Wow, 25 minutes. This is pretty cool. So, oh, thanks, Arthur. Okay, I see. And you'll see the delay too. If there's a delay between what I see on chat comes through real time. Video is a little bit delayed from the live stream. But Arthur, I appreciate your feedback. Snarty, thanks for being here. Joe, yeah, well, I love you too, man, and I'm glad you're here too. I'm a conservative. We're missing him today. I don't know where he is. Folks, show up on Monday and blast him, because I haven't seen him. I don't get to look down at the chat like I can do during the 13-minute news hour, since that's pre-recorded, but I haven't seen him yet. So we got to bust on him on Monday. So show up on Monday and we'll take it to him. Daniel, thanks for being here. Oh my gosh, Wendy Fallon, I'll be seeing you tonight. You showed up. Thank you very much. I don't know how you deal with Joe, but I pray for you because you have to. I just want you to know that. Kung Flu, Marjorie D, thank you so much for being here. Sonny Brooker, nice for being here too. Mark Holland, you're awesome, man. I appreciate your feedback. Mark, I appreciate you being on Patreon too, because that really helps out. That helps pay for the studio and things like this and the upgrades we want to make. So if you guys want to help out over at Patreon, just look me up, become a supporter. Mark does it. You guys actually get the 13-minute news hour, a half hour, sometimes an hour before it goes live, usually half hour to 45 minutes, but you get a free preview before we lock it in for the 13-minute news hour premiere. So Rose Miguel, thanks for being a regular, man. I recognize that name. Leroy Holly, that's a new name. Thanks for showing up. Really appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions about this equipment, if we go off the air, if I don't see it before we sign off, put it in the comments, because I check out the comments all the time and I try to reply. I try to reply as much as I can to folks that ask me a direct question, except for some of our, Steel Wheel Scoops and Peter Pan, some of our resident trollers, although I do feel like engaging them every now and then. But I was almost tempted to do it yesterday, but I just generally let that go because it's kind of pointless. But please jump in the comments and let me know, because this studio was a labor of love. Like I said, I talked to some good folks, and what I always like to do, there is a line, I don't know if you saw Wall Street, but it wasn't nearly as good as Wall Street, the original. But I'm a big movie fan, and I take quotes from movies all the time. They kind of stick with me. And one quote from Wall Street 2 was, at some point in your life, you should always be a protege and a mentor. And I really, really believe that. That's why whenever I jump into something new, I try to find the absolute best people around that I can talk to so I could learn, so I could soak it in. And then you turn that around and you teach it. You coach it, like in tennis or driving, or with the studio setup. I'm not an expert at this equipment, but I know it works. I know it does a quality product at the end. So I'm happy to talk with anybody. Contact me on the link in the description. We always have that contact us link in the descriptions of the 13-minute news hour. Please use that. Please contact me and ask questions. I'm happy to answer it on politics or the setup, or just motivation in business, building a business and making it grow and trying to make a difference in the country and in society. I'm happy to talk to you. You guys just reach out to me, whatever. Daniel, thanks for being here. Rochelle, Jason, you guys are awesome. I'm going to sign off because I think this was a really good Saturday live stream. And here's something else. If you have ideas for topics for Saturday live stream, because again, I'm not going to do like I do for the 13-minute news hour and just prep to put a bunch of news stories together. I wanted to bring you some new ones, from Romney and from Joe Biden. But the whole idea is more to interact with you. That's why I love this format. That's why it's a little risky, but it seems to be working out so far. And like I said, for those who are here early, I almost forgot to charge the camera battery. So hopefully it doesn't go dead before I sign off. But anyway, I just want to thank you guys for being here. Thanks for everything that you do to support the channel. Please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. And we'll see you on Monday for the 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.